What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TDPHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. If you're here with me and you can hear me loud and clear, let me know in the comment section. Put it in the comment section a yes if you can hear me loud and clear. Let me know because I know it's been a while since I've streamed. I'll tell you all about that in a moment. Then I want to go ahead and um, let y'all know the message that I have for QB1 Tua Tagovailoa. Somebody said new green screen. Well, this is actually real. This isn't a green screen. All right, so it's clear. Clear. Okay, cool. All right, so for all y'all who wondering, the setup, this is I'm trying to make this my new setup. Also, I'm going to be doing multiple different ventures with this setup. Me and my wife, we decided we wanted to go ahead and do our podcast. So this is also going to be our podcast setup. As you can see, her setup is right next to me with her mic and everything. So we might be shooting our first episode tonight or tomorrow. I'll keep y'all posted on that if you're interested, talking about everything going on in the world, all the current events and all of that stuff. Just spending some time together and actually having a venture together, which is always good in a relationship, doing something with your spouse that's meaningful. So just FYI, that's what this is going to be. But I'll pretty much be doing my streams from this as well because it seems like a very neutral, nice setup. I love it. And I hope y'all love it too. Shout out to Chaz Brown with the donation to the channel. He said was about to put a missing persons report in. Well, thank you for that, Karen, about me, and thank you for everybody who's been checking on me and wondering where I've been. But I went on vacation. I think you all already know that. When I came back from vacation about 2 or 3 days later, man, I had to visit the hospital. So I had a visit to the hospital. When I got out of the hospital, the medication and everything that I was on had me gone. And basically, for those who are new to the channel, most of y'all already know. I deal with back issues. When I first started this channel, in the first 2 years, I had about 7 not at fault accidents, car accidents. None of them were my fault. And every 3 to 4 months, it catches up to me. I feel a pain that is just ridiculous in my lower back every 3 to 4 months because of those accidents. And this was the worst one ever. So I'm gonna have to go to pain management and things of that nature. But I barely could walk. It got so bad. And a lot of it probably has to also do with setting all of this up and stuff like that. Usually whenever I overextenuate myself, it aggravates it. But yeah, man, I had to actually go to the hospital to get it checked out. It was so bad because I could barely even walk. But it happens every 3 to 4 months. So I don't want y'all to think this is something new. It's something I deal with bulges, my discs, and everything in my back from those accidents, them car accidents that I were involved in. But they had me on some really powerful medication, steroids, and everything, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought everything would be fine, but I couldn't even stay awake. I mean, every 5 minutes I found myself dozing off. I could not stay awake, and it was the medication just took over. And I just said I give in, and I stayed in bed for like 3-4 days. But the beautiful part of it all is I'm here, I'm alive, thank God, as always. And I'm here to try to bring the best content that I can. And I feel like I'm back to my strength, back to my health. So all I can do is go from there and continue to thank God for giving me breath in my lungs above anything else and giving me the opportunity to speak with my friends, family, and my family all around the world. All right. So here we are. Now, y'all know when TD go on a little hiatus like he just did, he always come back and get all how can I say this? I get all I take the moral high road. I get all philosophical and as a matter of fact. And I did have some time to think. And I had read something very recently and it caused me to think about Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm going to read it to y'all because this is fitting for him, because at the end of the day, we're all Dolphin fans. Love me, hate me, love him, hate him, whatever it is, we're all Dolphin fans and we want the same result at the end of the day. And when I read this, I thought about him because it is so fitting, because Tua Tagovailoa, he has a lot of people who praises him. He has a lot of people who hate on him. He has a lot of people who do this, that, and this. All right. EM in here. What's up, EM? He said, TD, is that other microphone for me? See what happened when you procrastinate, EM? That one's for the wife. I got like 2 more of those, man. I'm stocked up over here. I'll put it like that. But you procrastinate too much, man. Let me know when you want to get your act together. I'll just leave it like that. Triple S Podcast said, TD, I got the answer for your back. LOL. Oh, Lord, I think that's trees. What you're saying? Nah, I don't smoke, man. If that's what you're talking about. If not, forgive me for even assuming that based off of those leaves. Jose, I hope it's a positive message for Tua, man. To me, it is. To me, it's a very positive message for Tua. Okay, because I want to read it. He has a lot of people who love him and rave about him. He has a lot of people who hate on him. He has people like me, whether anybody disagrees or not, who's just being honest and telling you my truth about what I think about him as a person, which I've always told y'all he's a phenomenal human being as a man. It's what you would want your son to grow up as. It's what you would want to model also as a man, someone who carries themselves the right way, never gets too high, never gets too low, takes ownership for everything. Accountability, responsibility, that's above all. I mean, there is no question, anybody questioning that aspect of his life, unless you're personally with him day to day and you see a different life, I don't know what that would be about. As a football player, I think he's a very talented young man who has certain traits that makes him desirable as far as from a trajectory standpoint, but the overall package, I have my doubts. I don't think he's an NFL franchise quarterback long term, unless he makes certain type of improvements this year that can change that whole narrative altogether. And this is that opportunity for him, so we look forward to him to take that advantage if he can, but we'll see. But that leads me to this, and I'm gonna go ahead and read this. All right. This was a message from Theodore Roosevelt, and it just got me to think about all the people who talk bad about him and talk good about him. But this is a message for Tua, okay? And it reads, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcomings. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasm and great devotion, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of his achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." Theodore Roosevelt. Now, what that is basically saying is, and this goes back to the beginning, it is not the critic who counts. It isn't TDPHINSTALK, anybody who says good nor bad about Tua. It's not about them. It's not about the man who's pointing out his shortcomings. It's really about him himself. Because at the end of the day, he is the only one in the arena. And I've always said this, there is only one man who can control his narrative, and that is that man himself. Tua is doing something that many aren't. He's trying. Regardless if he fails or succeeds, it's all about the fact that he's trying. And as a Dolphin fan, everyone should be behind that type of effort. I know there's been a lot of things that come into question about how much he's trying as far as work ethic and things of those nature, but he's the man in the arena. He's the man in the arena. And the most beautiful part about this is the last words. The fact that he is trying, he'll never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. That's the beauty of it all. Whether you fail or succeed in life, and this is bigger than Tua, this is for every single one of you all. Whether you fail or succeed in life, you have to get in the arena though. Because the last place you want to be is with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. There's too many people out here that don't know what it feels like to succeed nor be defeated. They spend their lives every single day going day by day, staying right in the middle, not risking victory nor defeat. So it doesn't matter what anyone says to you, Tua. It doesn't matter who doubts you. The one thing that you will always know is that you're in that arena trying. Whether you succeed or fail, you will not know the cold and timid souls that do nothing. And for that, I have to give him his credit. I have to honor him. I have to say this man is at least putting in the time and effort while everybody's watching him, scrutinizing him, or praising him. He's still putting in the effort. He's still putting in the effort. And I have to say this, man. When I do my evaluations, I just tell you what I think. And I always try to tell y'all, it doesn't mean it's the gospel. I don't think people realize how much I hope this kid succeeds this year, how much I'm actually pushing for this kid to succeed this year. How amazing it would be for us to just have, like, I saw a stat the other day. It's been since 1995 since we had a top 10 offense. Did you know that? 1995 since we had a top 10 offense. And the crazy thing about all of that, I would even be fine with a top 15. That's how desperate we should be as Dolphin fans. I would be desperate for a top 15. But we need Tua Tagovailoa to succeed, and we hope that he succeeds. But at the end of the day, it's not about my evaluation of him. It's not about anybody's evaluation of him. It's just simply about the man in the arena, and whether he succeeds or fails, at least he was in that arena, and that's something he could always hold on to. This isn't a personal thing. And for all those who make it personal, you should reevaluate yourself. Now, I know sometimes people accuse you of making things personal, but it is what it is. But you know within yourself if it's a personal thing. Because I know my rhetoric. But I also see some people who align with my rhetoric where I can feel the personal disdain coming out of them. And it comes off as if, hey, you're right along with me. And for the 50 millionth time, let me be very clear. We are not the same. Not believing in the intangibles doesn't mean that I want anyone to fail. I don't want him to fail. I want him to succeed. I want to know that we finally got it right. We actually drafted our franchise quarterback. I want to know that even at this point, I want to know that, man, remember when we used to doubt him and we didn't think that he would be it? Now look at him. Like, can you imagine Tua Tagovailoa having a Brady career and then we looking back like, do y'all remember year 1 and 2? I was the number one culprit. Like, man, you got Watson out there. You got this and that. Do you know how beautiful that would be? It's not a shameful thing to want better. at least to what you think is better. But I think everybody would be able to appreciate if this kid succeeds this year. And if you can't, then you are a hater. You are one of those individuals that have a personal vendetta against the kid. And don't get me wrong, I kind of also know the reality of what's really going on. I'm not sure anybody really has a vendetta against Tua. I think that we've just gotten to a point to where we have a vendetta against the people that support him blindly without any evidential proof of why they support him other than the fact that they like him as a kid. And they won't just say that. I know that's what it really is. But you also can't let other individuals who are not in the arena beat the kid up himself. And I know I have my moments where I'm guilty because I poke the bear a lot. I just like having fun, and I admit that. But at the end of the day, the reason why I say me and you are not alike because I want this kid to succeed. I do not want him to fail. I want him to be the greatest Dolphin to ever play the game. Big shoes. Big shoes. But it's possible. It's funny because with Tannehill, my thought process is it's possible. Get him an O-line, get him weapons, get him a run game. It's possible. TD, he's not it. Just give up. Even if you get him a run game, get him a this and get him a that. You went to Tennessee. He had all that. He looked great, but at the end of the day, still fell short because of his shortcomings, by the way. And my whole philosophy changed because I learned from that experience. And I know that I'm putting that on Tua. Without everything, it doesn't look the brightest. But everybody's saying if you get him everything, he'll look the brightest. And I expect him to. I just get scared that when the rubber meets the road in the big game, that it's still going to come down to his shortcomings. So I hope that that isn't going to end up being the case, and I hope that it's nothing but greatness, because this whole conversation about turning back to Alabama Tua, if we got that version, at least that productivity, we'd be unstoppable. Nobody to be able to stop us. Nobody. So if we can see that version, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling y'all, if you saw Cincinnati go to the Super Bowl last year, why can't we win one this year? Raul making me laugh. He said, wow, those are heavy painkillers. Now, seriously, get well soon, TD. These ain't the pain pills talking. I stopped taking those yesterday. These ain't the pain pills talking. This is just the truth. This is the truth. I mean, what is it? Do we hate the kid or something? Do you hate him? Let me know in the comment section. Do you hate Tua Tagovailoa? Is that what it is for some of y'all? Because maybe I need to stop speaking on some of y'all behalf, saying people don't hate him. Do you hate him? Please let me know in the comment section. Because I don't. And if you're aligning yourself with me, then we're not the same. Hate the Tuaneers. And that's why I said I'm pretty sure that that's what it really is. That's what it is. He our guy, at least this year, TD. Yeah, true. Don't like his fans. It is a problem. I understand. I promise y'all I understand more than y'all think, because it's like us Dolphin fans, right? We've been loving this team for so long and been so disappointed, but then we have a whole fan base who is coming off of a high of multiple years of national championships and appearances in the big games, and then they just fall right into the Dolphins' laps, and all of a sudden, bam, they don't even know the feeling. They don't even know how we feel. Shout out to the homie T Rich in here. T Rich doesn't know what a Dolphin fan feels like. T Rich, and this ain't me picking on you, T Rich, I'm just using it as an example. He has no clue what a Dolphin fan feels like. He's been an Alabama fan. He hadn't had to deal with what the Miami Dolphins have had to deal with for the last 25 years. That's where the real issue comes from. But what makes this whole thing ugly and nasty are the Dolphin fans that they actually don't know the difference. When a Alabama fan says something supportive of Tua, like he's better than Dan Marino, stuff like that, and all y'all have heard it before. What'll happen is somebody will go off on them, and just a normal Dolphin fan who isn't day-to-day with this will just say, why are you bashing Tua? I mean, that's how he feels. That's how he feels, which is true. But they think that it's another regular Dolphin fan saying that when it's just an Alabama fan. But regardless, man, at the end of the day, the message is for Tua. It doesn't matter what people say. And I think even with, Tyreek's podcast and everything, and shout out to Tyreek Hill, marketing genius in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. I think what's happening is I think people are getting lost in the fact that there's starting to be a response. Basically, with the Tyreek Hill podcast and things like that, those are responses to people who are doubting. Those are responses, and they're not used to the responses. And that's where a lot of the conversation has really started to swirl in the media as of late. They're starting to get responded to. But here's what I would say about the responses that have come out from Tyreek, Tua, Waddle, and all of that. No response is valid other than the one on the field. No response is valid other than the one on the field. No matter what anyone says to or about you, the only thing that reigns supreme is what you do on the field. I'm not sure if we're creating pressure, but one thing I will tell you that makes me very happy, hopefully happy, is that at least these men, three of the best players on our team, Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle, based off of the conversations that they have had recently, they have to perform now. They will be required to perform at the highest level they can now. Anything short of that will come with nothing but the worst criticism they have ever received in their careers. They have created an environment where all the pressure is going to be on their shoulders. And now we get to see if they can lift the weight. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where you find out the difference between the men and the boys. The men talk a good game and back it up. The boys talk a good game and make excuses for why they didn't come through. And I like to think that every single one of those young men are men and not boys. So they've put their message out there. And I got to be honest with y'all, it has me excited. It has me excited. It has me excited because I don't know Tyreek Hill like that. And let me say that too, y'all. I don't know him like that. I haven't studied him like that. Y'all know I've studied almost every player on this team. I get keen to their personality, how they are, how they learn, their tendencies, all of that stuff to come up with conclusions about the things that they say. I have no clue about Tyreek. I'm starting to study him, but I won't know about Tyreek until he shows it on the field or doesn't show it, and then see how he handles it. I have no clue. I don't know what to expect from Tyreek this year. We know what he's been in this NFL all this time. I have no clue what to expect from him this season. I don't know what he's going to demand of Tua. I don't know what he's going to demand of the rest of this team. I know we all live in a realm where we make assumptions and base it off of what he's done in the past, but this is definitely a different circumstance, different environment, different way of doing things. I have no clue. There are so many things this season. To be honest with, we have no clue what to expect. And I'm still optimistic about it. I've been having my doubts about 2 to 3 weeks ago. I'm like, man, could we be a 7-win team? Could we be 8 or 9? When everybody knows you got to get to 11 at a minimum just to have a shot. In today's NFL, this year in the AFC, you got to get to 11 to have a shot. And I'm the type of person that looks at all the facts in front of him. And what do the facts tell us, ladies and gentlemen? Fact number 1, we have a first-year head coach who's never been a head coach or in charge of a single unit and did the full responsibility of the unit by himself ever. And please, y'all, this ain't me being negative. I'm just running through our current situation. Not only is he a first-time coach, but many could argue he was our 4th or 5th choice. 4th or 5th choice. Not only that, he brings in a staff who's fairly new, some of them taking promotions, and some of them lateraling into the position that they're in. New coaches. We got a new offensive line. The only thing that's going to be anchored from last year that we think is Robert Hunt. Everything else is a switch up. New running backs, none of which can stay healthy in their career so far. None who have been a premier back yet as a full season workhorse. New wide receiving core. But I have more faith in that group at least. But what are the positive things? Fan base is energized. We have a quarterback. We're trying to figure out if he's a franchise quarterback, and our team at least did what every team should do for a young quarterback. Give them everything they need around them so you can actually see their full potential. We did that. We got a top 3 wide receiver weapon in the NFL while already having a top 15, in my opinion, in Waddle. My opinion, at least. Having one of the top 10 tight ends in the NFL. In my opinion, he's about 6th now. Last year, I had him ranked at 8th. I have him about 6th now. Went and got some protection on the O-line, 2 veterans that are very solid if he can stay healthy, at least from a Armstead standpoint. They took care of him. They did everything that they could do for Tua Tagovailoa so that they could literally check every single box to make sure if they have the guy or not. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting an immediate revelation. That is what we have never done in the last 25 years for any quarterback. What we just did, we have never done in the last 25 years for any quarterback. So if you have any optimism about Tua or this season, that should be where it comes from. Because that's the unknown that we aren't used to seeing. That we can't say we did it with this person, it didn't work. We don't have the Baker Mayfield situation in Cleveland. We don't have the Ryan Tannehill situation in Tennessee. We're the Miami Dolphins. And not only did we fix these areas, we got some of the best in the NFL in these areas. When it comes to Teron Armstead, it doesn't get much better if he could just stay healthy. When it comes to Tyreek Hill, it don't get much better. And then you paired him with the guy who already, in my personal opinion, fits his skill set and just as dynamic in Waddle. We just won't say that yet because he doesn't have the cachet nor the tenure in the NFL. But I'm telling y'all, Waddle is going to be a special beast in the NFL for years to come. Waddle is the perfect wide receiver in the NFL. And I hope that Tua unlocks him this year. They did all of this for Tua. So despite the fact that they had explored so many options to replace him, despite all of that, one thing I will tell you, we have to get rid of this narrative that this organization has sabotaged Tua Tagovailoa. They didn't sabotage him. At the end of the day, they explored every option to get better. And when those options didn't work, they still did what they had to do to give Tua the best chance that he will ever have in this league to succeed. And I am here to tell y'all right now, what Tua has around him on this offense in Miami is probably going to be the best thing he will ever have in his career to succeed. Shout out to the homie Engraving Vids in the building. What's up, man? I hope everything's good with you, man. Even though we're going to tap up on the Ravens. See if y'all can overcome what we did to y'all last year. It's going to be a repeat. Just a bigger offensive explosion, hopefully, right? But real talk, man. We took care of Tua. And the reality is, as gruesome and as grimy as it can be, everything that's happened to him in the first 2 years, it ain't nothing but business. I don't think it was ever personal. It was always business. It was always business. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, there ain't going to be a finer time for us than now. And then as a Dolphin fan, with the quarterback situation aside, no matter what happens this season, we at least have insurance with the draft capital that we have for the future. And I already told y'all a little whiles back, we got to be very careful this offseason, right during training camp or right before the regular season. This team could still engage in a major, massive trade. And I'm not even talking about the quarterback position. This team could still possibly engage in a major trade whether that's picking up another first-round asset or swapping a player. Just like I told y'all with Laramie Tunsil, and I got beat up for it. Y'all remember, those who are on this channel from day one, y'all remember I was telling y'all about Laramie Tunsil months before it happened. And so many people unsubscribed and say, I can't listen to this idiot. We just drafted him. He's our franchise player. That's stupid of an analysis to think that we trade him. And 2 months later, Laramie Tunsil was traded. And if you think about it, Laramie Tunsil is the person who has us in this situation today. Laramie Tunsil is the reason why we had all the assets to get players like Javon Holland, to get players like Waddle, to get players like Tua. Laramie Tunsil is the reason. Jalen Phillips, all of these players kept flipping those first-round picks we acquired for him. He's the reason. One moment, y'all. Let me do this real quick. Give me a second. No, just slice the top. Yeah, just cut it up. All right. Good luck. Sorry, y'all. That's the wife asking me how to cut a pineapple. But yeah, and the player that I'm telling y'all better look out for is Christian Wilkins. And that doesn't mean that's going to happen, but I'm trying to tell y'all, look out for Christian Wilkins potentially getting shipped off. Christian Wilkins is the guy you have to look out for. A close second would be Mike Gesicki. I don't think that that's going to happen. But when you look at the way things are, the contract, the structures, and everything, those are our two top players that could very well be shipped off before the season starts. And I want to say this, and don't beat me up for it, but I am confident, based off of my analysis of our team, if we were to ship off Christian Wilkins, we'd be losing a great player. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, believe me or not, our defense wouldn't suffer greatly. It wouldn't. Our defense would not suffer greatly. But at the end of the day, you want all the weapons you can. You want all the depth that you can. And you like to have him on the field with Raekwon Davis and Zach Skyler at the same time. But I'm just telling y'all, he is an asset that we will have to pay. And we will have to pay respectably. You saw what Jerome Baker got. So what do you think Christian Wilkins is going to get? We are going to have to pay him, and respectably. He is a top 6 at the position in the NFL. Skyler's number 3, but he's top 6. Number 6 in the NFL at his position. In this article that came out saying the Miami Dolphins look like they're in the best shape of any team with the salary cap, that's only because players like that for the future, they're not counting in the salary cap yet. We don't have this money that people think that we have for the future unless we're getting rid of a lot of our best players. Engraven said, Zach Skyler, huh? I remember him. Yes, Engraven. The weapon that I'm shocked that y'all allowed to get away. The Baltimore Ravens allowed him to get away. And for multiple years now, he's been one of the best at the position. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, y'all can thank the Baltimore Ravens for Skyler. They allowed him to get away. If I'm not mistaken, didn't y'all have him sitting on the practice squad, Engraven? If I'm not mistaken, I've done my research, but a lot of people, I do research on a lot of people. They start getting jumbled up. They correct me if I'm wrong and acknowledge me if I'm right. Didn't y'all have him sitting there on the practice squad? Now he's one of the best players in the NFL at that position. Dominant, gets in the backfield at will. We appreciate it, though. And shout out to whoever saw that and went and poached them and took them away. I'm going to go and read some of you guys' comments. I'm not saying this season. I'm talking about next season. Y'all talk about Lamar Jackson. Listen, I don't even want to talk about Lamar anymore. I want Tua to work out. If he comes out there bombing it, then I'm the first one on that conversation. But Tua need to work out. Engraven said, yeah, he was a low draft pick. Oh, let me go back. Yeah, he was a low draft pick for Ravens. I just remember him being strong, like super strong. I forget whether he was the practice squad or they just cut him. I don't even remember. I think it was the practice squad. He didn't make the roster, but y'all wanted to work with him and y'all wanted to keep him around, but we end up poaching him. I think that's what went down. I'll do my research again to lock it in. But he's definitely turning out to be one of the greater players in the league. We ain't talking our Aaron Darnold here, but you know what I mean. He playing that position. He was rated number 3 in the NFL last year, and if you look at the year before that, just as high. He's always, for the last 3 years, he has been very productive. He just don't have that draft cachet. And that's where the Dolphins come into a situation where you drafted one guy in the first round, you go poach another from the practice squad. The guy from the practice squad, some can argue, is being more productive than the first rounder, but they're both balling, though, like first rounders. That's the situation the Dolphins have found themselves in. And you get to keep both, or you can invest in the lower draft grade so you'll pay them less and get an asset for the first rounder. Or you just keep continuing to keep with them both and have a dominant front. But that's the thing I love above all that Chris Grier always finds a way, is to give us options. It's the one thing that I love over anything else about Chris Grier. He always leaves us with options so that whatever he did, if it fails, we still have options. Look at all the teams that go for broke and it don't work, and then they got to sit it out for 2 years just to recoup. We always have options. Whether you love or hate Chris Grier, we always have options. Always. Who would you see as trade partners and for what position? Now, Joe, I haven't even thought through that, but if I was just to take a guess off of the top of my head, I won't have a trade partner. I mean, that's just me saying who needs a 3-4 defensive end or a 4-3 tackle. Who needs one? And he's one of the top of the league, so that could be anybody, right? But what I try to explain to y'all is my lens in evaluating the Miami Dolphins isn't just now. It's now and the future, and understanding what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a team that's going to compete for a Super Bowl every year, and this will be the first year where we're put to the test. We're not expecting to win a Super Bowl this year, but we're expecting to test ourselves and how close we are to that overall goal, in which you could win it. You could win it in the process of testing it. But that's where we are. So, but we always, and this is what I stress on this channel, we always have to make sure that we look in the future so that we're in a good position. So you always have to look at positions where you say, this guy isn't going to be here long. This guy isn't going to be here long. This guy isn't going to be here long. And I'm not talking about your scrubs, ladies and gentlemen. And let me not say scrubs. I'm not talking about your NFL players that are, on their $2 and $3 million deals, $4 million, where they're, Like, let me give you an example. Eric Rowe ain't no scrub, but we're not talking about him because he's a bridge at this point of his career. Unless he just keeps on keeping on. So when you evaluate the team, you have to say to yourself, what positions do we need to start preparing to replace? Y'all help me with this. Who do we need to start to get ready to replace? Xavier Howard. How many more years you think he gonna be rocking it like this? Byron Jones. His contract tells you we're about to, we gotta figure the next move out. So that alone, and who's behind him? Nick Needham, but you want to keep him in the slot. So the reality is you're in a grave situation at the corner position. So I'm not going to say both need to be replaced, but we need to start thinking about the future of the next guy because Noah was brought in to potentially be that, but it hadn't worked out so far. So therefore, we're not going to sit here and say that he's the guy. So you can automatically pencil in the cornerback position. We got to start preparing for the future in the cornerback position because you want to compete every year. So that's one position, cornerback. What else? Defensive end. We gave Ogbah the deal, but at the same token, it is really 2 years. Look at the guarantees. And he's going to be getting older. These might be the best 2 years of his career, the last productive years. Maybe it could be longer, but we got to play this like a general manager. These might be the last few productive years of his career. We're not trying to replace him this year, but we got to start to prepare for assets to do so. And that ain't saying because we got Jalen Phillips, because we needed the guy on the other side anyway. The Van Ginkels of the world and all of that, great players, but we never really wanted to rely on them being a 80% snap count individual. So you're going to need that power, that amazing defensive end next to Jalen Phillips for the future. You got one locked in for the future, but when did we ever only need one? At a minimum, you need 3 in this NFL. So at least you got to have 2. Not only that, our entire linebacking core. I got to be honest with y'all. Our entire linebacking core is not reliable. They either good against the run or they good against the pass. That's why we invested in Tyndall, but that's one guy for the future. Jerome Baker got that money a few years ago, hoopity-hoo, but that ain't going to be lasting too much longer. They're going to have to invest in that. And not to mention the safety positions. I think we have that when we already started that process and we're doing a good job. But you still got to have those guys behind them. And I'm not as worried about the safety position. But if you really notice a trend here, we're focusing on offense now as we should, but we're going to have some major holes in the next 2 to 3 years on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to have some major holes on the defensive side of the ball that we have to start to prepare for. And there is no better way to prepare for those holes than one guy becoming our franchise quarterback. Because if he can become our franchise quarterback, and y'all know I'm talking about Tua, all those first-round picks, those 3 first-round picks that we have the next 2 years, we can invest in those positions. We can invest in those positions. We talk about the big free agent acquisition. Who was the second biggest free agent acquisition that we made this offseason behind Tyreek Hill? Who is it? Let me know in the comment section. Who was our second biggest free agent acquisition this year behind Tyreek? Somebody got to get it right. Teron Armstead. We're talking about a guy in the last 7 years hadn't played a full season. Averages like 8 to 10 games a season because of injuries. He's getting older, and I hope we still get the best version of him, but how long do you expect that to last? We have to start preparing for that. What better way to prepare for it than Tua becoming our franchise quarterback so that we can use those first-round draft picks? Because I want you to think about it. Knock on wood, another major injury by Armstead, this whole offense might even be back to square one. Just keeping it a buck with y'all. Weapons without protection. And certain people can't afford that. So it doesn't matter. We could do well this year, but if we don't figure out how to secure that situation long term, we don't want to go backwards. We don't want to have a better season this year and then all of a sudden it start going downhill. That's not what we're trying to do. These are positions that we're going to have to make sure that we secure for the future. Turn it off. Well, no hide and seeking here. Love you. Bye-bye. But that's the reality. That's the reality that we're dealing with. We got like 4 major positions that we're going to have to fill. We're going to need a defensive end. We're going to need a left tackle. And I'm not even counting the fact that we might need a right tackle for our quarterback's blind side. I'm actually being optimistic right now that somebody like Austin Jackson fits that mold. But the truth be told, we might be looking there too. But I'm going to negate that right now. But we're going to need a left tackle. We're going to need a linebacker. We're going to need a corner. We're going to need a defensive end. I know y'all saying center, but again, those are things I'm not counting. I'm just trying to ignore right now and see what happens this year. But y'all see it. Y'all see what you basically, all I'm saying is you see what I'm trying to say to you. This is why we need QB1 to become that dude. We need it bad. So at the end of the day, man, any real Dolphin fan, you got to be rooting for Tua right now because we actually need the kid. We need him. I'm hearing like Eichenberg at left guard. Yeah, I'm hearing it too, but time will tell. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Tito Jones said, man, had to check my settings, bro. Missed you, buddy. I am praying for you and the family. Very happy you guys are back up and rolling. Fin fam. Love you for that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Robert Hunt should be at right guard. What you're probably going to get is this, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get Armstead at left tackle. You're going to get Jackson at right tackle. You're going to get Hunt at right guard. You're going to get Connor Williams at center. Now, the left guard position, I know they're talking Eichenberg, but you got a few other guys as well that could be considered for the position. So I'm not going to just give it to Eichenberg, but I would like to see him there, especially since we invested the draft pick moving up for him. I like him. I want to see him work out, but time will tell. Skyler can be that dude and not have to waste picks. I don't think we're in a position for Skyler to become that dude. If something happens to Tua, even if he got hurt and we had to go with Teddy, we got to go with Teddy. The only way Skyler will get a real shot is if both of those guys go down and Skyler comes out and gives us a Davis Mills early on type production, which still ain't good enough. But if you could show at least that as a base level at your draft status, then he could earn a season where they're considering seeing what he can do. But Skyler, man, I'm looking more forward to him becoming a good backup for us. And if the opportunity presents itself and he could show up on a whole nother level, then so be it. But it's not one of those things you hold your breath on. It's not one of them things you hold your breath on. I'm just tired of paying backups $6 to $10 million. That has to stop. And the only way that stops if you know who your starter is. And you know what I mean when I say you know who your starter is. So time will tell. We only need positional needs, but only who's starter and who's backup. I didn't understand what you're trying to ask or something. This is exactly why I say people should not buy the hype, because every time we say we have everything filled, the next year we have 3 holes. Well, it's been a long time since we had 3 holes. I ain't seen a roster since we had less than 6 holes. You know, cause last year, y'all know, man, listen. They said that I was being negative last year. Y'all remember before the season started, I said what? We got a rookie, we got Austin Jackson, we got Eichenberg, we got Solomon Kinley, we got we don't even know who our center is. I mean, we had 2 centers from Baltimore. I was saying all this stuff, and people got mad at me saying I was being negative about the O-line. And I was just being honest. This is what we have. I'll be optimistic and hope that they can become great, but this is what we have. But we're in a much better situation this year because it's about anchors on the O-line. You don't need 5 great O-linemen, but you definitely need anchors. And I have a football philosophy where you need those edges in that middle anchored. And I felt good about it. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all may not agree with me, but I honestly feel better about the combination of Armstead at left tackle, Connor at left guard, and Dieter at center than I do about Armstead at left tackle, whoever at left guard, and Connor at center. They're switching it up. And hey, who am I? I don't know. It might be the best thing we've ever done. But I felt good about Armstead and Connor Williams being next to each other with Dieter in the middle. Now I'm a little hesitant because Connor ain't got no center experience like people trying to make it seem. They experimented in Dallas in preseason with him because they wanted the starter to not get any reps and they wanted him to be the emergency backup just in case, and it didn't go well. And he barely practiced doing it, according to him himself in an interview. And all of a sudden, they working him out to do it. And don't get me wrong, I know that's what it is right now, but when we come into real training camp, it might be a shocker and they might switch it right back up. They might have just been getting him some early reps so that he could actually be the backup. But we don't know. I personally, and if they don't, they know better than me, okay? And especially with the O-line. But I personally would prefer Connor Williams at the left guard and Armstead at the left tackle and Dieter at center. Y'all give me a second. I'm going to close this door. Thank you. I think Liam can solidify the right side. I got to be honest with you. I want Liam on the inside at the guard position. I like Liam's footwork. The thing is, his arms are too short, man. And that's just a personal thing. I have no basis to say he can't do it. I think he probably is going to be great at the tackle position. It's one of those biased things. His short arms, I just don't like. So it's at the tackle position. And it confuses me because we're gambling with the position that is protecting Tua's blind side. We're gambling with a position that's protecting Tua's blind side. Let me tell y'all why I'm a little concerned about that, because this isn't, I ain't trying to debate with anyone, but listen, our offense was designed to dink and dunk last year. Part of the reason for that, a major part, was because the O-line couldn't hold up consistent enough. Also, the deficiencies at the quarterback position in the intermediate, that was also known. But it was a combination of reasons why. And here's my biggest concern is that if we have a little more faith on the O-line this year, we have to recognize the fact that every O-line gets beat. Every player in the NFL gets beat. The greatest left or right tackle in the NFL gets beat on a play. And if we're trying to stretch the field anymore and take that extra second or two, I want to be clear with y'all. I do not have any confidence in Tua absorbing a massive hit from his blind side. See it coming, you could brace, whatever, but blind side hits, it's the worst for Tua. I just don't have any confidence in it. Even last minute see it. I don't. And I feel like we're gambling over there. Because all it takes is one play. One play. I don't like that. That's why with this whole Armstead thing, when we were talking about who should we bring in, I was talking about other tackles because I want the right side. Some people say Armstead can play the right, but he's going to play the left. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't want him to, all it takes is one time, and I don't want him to be exposed to that. And it could still happen regardless, but you're actually increasing the risk, though. That's where it kind of rubs me the wrong way with the right tackle being the position where we're switching guys who haven't proven anything yet. Don't like it at all. And I ain't trying to be negative, y'all. I just don't. I don't have a good feeling about that. And that's why whenever we were in free agency, everybody was saying Armstead. I was naming some other guys. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I was naming other guys because I wanted the right side solidified more than the left. Our right tackle is going to be a disaster. I hope I'm wrong, but they are just experimenting at that position. Man, I hope we're all wrong, or we just got to scheme it up where we get a lot of chipping over there or the tight end sets and help and different things of that nature. I just don't like it because if we're going to utilize Tyreek Hill to the max in those guys, that ain't the right side you want. Your blind side. And let me tell you something that teams like to do against quarterbacks like Tua. The reason why you run play action is because you want to suck those defensive ends or the blitzer downhill to try to tackle the running back to stuff the play. And the quarterback keeps it and get that extra second because you made a guy hesitate on whether or not you hand it off or not. With players like Tua Tagovailoa, some teams are going to go for that. And those are in my opinion, from a football standpoint, are the dumb teams. Every team ain't going to go for that. It's the same thing with Ryan Tannehill in the playoffs. You know why he looks so pedestrian in the playoffs? Because all regular season, they killing it with Derrick Henry, and every time he faked that handoff, nobody's on him because they so worried about Derrick Henry. But just shockingly in the playoffs, even when Derrick Henry plays, the defensive ends are assigned to, I don't care if he handed off, you go to Tannehill. Even if he hands it off, you still go to Tannehill and as if he got the ball. And those are when teams scheme like that, it's going to be a disaster for us. Play action. Quarterback turnaround, guy right in his face. He get rid of it right away. Throw it in the dirt or bad decision. That's all you have to do. Because you know what you realize in football? That pursuit guy on the back end of the line who has to decide if he want to go to the running back or the quarterback, he only get the running back 1 out of every 10 times anyway. Now that 1 out of every 10 times can be huge, but it's 1 out of 10 times. A lot of these coaches are smart enough to know It's more productive just going to the quarterback every time because you already sucked the linebackers in. That's a big throw. Go to the quarterback. So a lot of people like, we're going to run a lot more play action, get the defense off heels. Man, these defensive ends, and sometimes the play is designed to let the defensive end run free so that he can pursue the running back. That's why you be having those nakeds and the quarterbacks roll out and nobody's chasing them and they all by themselves because the defensive end collapsed downhill. Some teams are wising up to that. They're like, I'm going to the quarterback every time, even if they hand it off. And the sad part about the way that we run things and what I see potentially going to happen to us is the fact that we play, and we've done this in the past, and I hope Mike McDaniel switches this up, but I have no reason to believe he will because this is San Francisco's philosophy. Run what you run, and this is our identity. It is what it is. We'll never get away from it. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I hate coaches like that. I'd rather you not have an identity. Now, I know that's a sin. I know everybody like, who is this guy saying that a team shouldn't have an identity? No, I personally feel like you shouldn't have an identity. I feel like your identity, if you do have one, is based off of what they're trying to do against you. Your identity is everything they can't stop. They trying to run the too high, run the ball. They trying to come in the box, play action. They trying to, you go counter whatever they're doing. This philosophy, now, well, we're still just going to run our game, that can only get you but so far. That's what 90% of these teams do, ladies and gentlemen. They come out on the field, they go with their identity, then they run into somebody who knows exactly how to shut their identity down, and then they get beat 33-6. Then they get beat 33-6. And they still hold a hat on the fact that, well, this philosophy beat 6 teams in a row and lost to this one. Everybody's going to lose a game. Shut up. That's the whole point of playoffs. When you get into playoffs, they get scheme specific. They shut that crap down. Stop going off of the fact that you play 12 scrubs a year and you're going to guarantee probably win 10 of those. You ever see a powerful team that put up 40 every week and then certain opponents, they only put up 3 to 6 points and you're like, dang, well, everybody have a bad game. No, you're just stuck in doing what you always do. And this team got your number and you too stubborn to change it. Because you still stuck on the fact that, well, I beat 6 teams with, I could deal with 1 loss. Yeah, but you can't deal with that in the playoffs. You can't deal with that in the playoffs because you go home. It's lazy football to me. And that's what I'm scared about because San Francisco, they are all about their identity. And let me tell you how. There'll be passing situations. It'll be a 3rd and 9, and they'll run the ball and get the first. That's commitment to their identity. Now they got the first, but you ain't running into everybody doing that. Everybody ain't going to let you win like that. Every time we talk about San Francisco, I just can't help but think about that Green Bay. Was it the Green Bay Packers? I forgot. It was one game where nobody scored pretty much. It was like a special teams play that won it. You can't live off of that. Yeah, it can only take you but so far. It can only take you but so far. We are basically enabling a dink and dunk offense. And I'm nervous about that too because I'm trying to tell people our offense, yeah, you'll have different formations and different plays, but you're going to get a lot of dink and dunk in this system, ladies and gentlemen. This system is solely about putting the ball in the playmakers' hands and letting them go do the rest. Putting the ball in the playmakers' hands and letting them go do the rest. That's what this system is based on. I'm going to go over some game film with y'all soon, today, tomorrow, something like that. I want to go back to that Patriots game. Volume not on. Can y'all hear me? Somebody said the volume's not on. Just want to make sure it ain't everybody because I think everybody can hear me fine. I want to watch some more of that Patriots film because I got to show y'all. I keep watching, for some reason, I keep going to the Patriots game and I keep watching it. And it's a prime example of similarly how this offense will be. Matter of fact, we'll take some time to do that. I'm going to take a little break here in a moment because I'm probably going to start another stream. Because I want to evaluate offense. It's not about Tua. It's about offense. I want to show you last year what we tried to do and what we're going to be trying to do this year off of the looks that we had last year. How it's going to be very similar. And I'm going to try to pull up the Patriots film from last year. And we're going to talk through that. So if y'all give me about 20 minutes, I'm going to come back and start a new stream, breaking down some of the film. But I want to do it for Mac Jones, too, on the other side of what our defense was doing to them, because we can learn a lot that way as well. So we'll break that down. And if y'all will join me in about 20 minutes or so, I'll be back with another stream. Take a quick break real quick. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. This is Fins Up No Matter What. Again, check out, I'll let y'all know in another stream about me and my wife's podcast. I think I explained it to y'all earlier when I first started. We're going to have our, normal podcast, our daily life podcast about everything going on in the world. She'll be right here joining me, and we'll be talking about everything that's going on. Just spending some time together, talking about life and everything. So thank y'all. I hope y'all love the setup. This is going to be our base, and big things to come. Fins Up No Matter What. Love y'all. Peace. See y'all real soon. All right.